big program. So go ahead and give me a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I lost you for a second. My name is Dave Hardman, and I am the producer for the Hourglass Effect.
So tell me a little bit about the Hourglass Effect. How did you guys get together as a group? All this stuff.
It's I know there are a lot of crazy stories in rock and roll, but this one is right up there. I'm a music teacher. I teach guitar, bass, other sundry things. And I have a studio in a strip mall. And I'm up on the second floor. And one of my students, her name's Erin, who ended up singing on the record. She she was late as usual. That's her MO. And she was struggling to get 2 guitars out of her car. And this guy named Drew, who was getting his hair cut there at the strip mall, he sees her struggling, and he plays guitar, and it's like, oh, fellow guitar player. So he goes and asks her if he can help her with the guitars. She says yes. They come up to the studio, and he looks at me and goes, hey, I write songs too. And I'm like, cool. And then he says, you want to hear one? And I said, no, because I have to teach her a lesson. She's already late. I said, but I'll get in touch with you sometime. And then we had a whole, round and round thing. And then eventually I got together with Drew, and we just started hammering out song after song after song. And then we got 10 together, and the rest is history. And then Aaron sang on the songs. So Drew is still in my phone listed as Drew, parentheses, man in the parking lot.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the reception to your guys' music.
We've had great reception for being nobodies. Like, we now have a million. We're pushing 1.3 million views on our videos on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, Pandora. We're on all those, and we've been getting. We have thousands of streams for at least a handful of our songs. We actually just started. We've been making videos ever since we finished the record, and we now just this last week we shot another video, and we did it in a spaghetti western style. So here awesome. In North Carolina, we it was very cool. We rented a street that looks like it's from 1870s. It has a general store and the undertaker and the post office. And we rented horses and replica guns and extras, and we shot a Clint Eastwood, the good, the bad, and the ugly vibe for it. So we've been having a lot of fun, an absolute blast.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about some of your goals for the music and everything.
Well, coming out of the gate with the first album, we didn't really know what we were doing, and now we've kind of got a little bit of the lay of the land, and as said, we're making, some serious progress for, not being backed up by a label or even being known to the, general public at all, except for our few friends and relatives in comparison. The goal, we want to reach as many people as possible. It still blows my mind that, over 1 million views for songs that I helped produce, on YouTube, just YouTube alone. And then Spotify has had its own, this, that, and the other thing. So this is just mind-boggling to us. We've actually started working on the second album. Last night, Drew and I finished the 8th demo for our next album. So we're already thinking ahead to that. But there are so many great songs in this album. Drew's songwriting is a unique thing, and my treatment of his songs has been a unique thing, and the combo with Aaron's voice has just made for we've been stunned at how well it turned out. Like, we knew it would be good, but we didn't know it would be great, and it is great.
I think that's tremendous that you guys have such you're such like a cohesive unit, I guess. And
Oh, we are. I mean, we have our issues sometimes, but like as is the case with any band. But yeah, we got a good thing going. Drew writes them, I produce them. I'm playing most of the instruments on the album, and then Aaron sings them, and it's a 1, 2, 3 punch.
that's awesome. So, who are some of your musical heroes and influences?
Being a little bit up in age, still with a 17-year-old heart, I have truly sought after every genre on the planet. I've also had the privilege of living elsewhere. I lived in Europe for 5 years. I lived in Canada for 5 years. I'm married to a Canadian. And so I was exposed to a lot of music outside of the normal American thing. And those have all come into it. I mean, I have American bands that I love, but many times I was kind of looking over the Atlantic to like Queen, Zeppelin, the Who. I've been really into the Smiths. Talking about like the '80s stuff, the Smiths, New Model Army, Susie and the Banshees. I love an Australian band called Hunters and Collectors that one of my Swedish friends turned me on to. It's far and wide. I mean, I love reggae, and not just Bob Marley, but many other. I mean, there's so many reggae artists out there that nobody seems to ever really hear. There's a well, I won't go into that, but anyways, I love to soak it all up, including Eastern music. You can hear on the album there's a heavy, not heavy, but enough that you can notice that Eastern influence. I love Turkish music, Indian music. I'm influenced by it all.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So, what exactly do you see as the end game for all this with your music and everything, and the stuff you guys are doing?
I heard somebody recently on a YouTube video, they were talking about what success is. And this is a guy who's had considerable success. He's a lead singer and lead guitar player for The Darkness. What's his name? Justin Hawkins. And
That's awesome. Yeah.
he who has been through it all, including rehab and the whole 9 yards, made tons of money. He said the other day, and this really struck me. He said, success is not... that's never going to make you happy necessarily. Making great art is what is going to make you happy, and that's my goal. I make great art. As another great musician once said, I make that album so that I have a copy. If anybody else enjoys it, great. But
that is fantastic.
That was actually that. Prince had said that. Prince said, most important copy is the one I hold in my hand, and that really is true. Because I've had plenty of people that I know very well totally ignore what I'm doing. It goes with the territory. And then I've had complete strangers embrace it, like as if we've known each other for all our lives. So it's sometimes you can't rely on the money success. Are we making a ton of money off this album? No, but it's gone around the globe and back, and that is a sense of success. But I can just sit back and listen to that record and go, I did a great job. Drew did a great job. Aaron did a great. We made a great record, and that I can carry with me to the grave.
That's awesome. Well, you bring up the what you brought up a second ago about complete strangers get a hold of you and they're like, oh hey, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. I had one of those incidents earlier today. I interviewed someone on this show, and they brought up the fact that, I seen an interview that you did with a band called I Wrestled a Bear Once. And they're like, oh, this is a great interview, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we did that like 10 years ago. But I'm glad you liked it, brother.
Yeah. It's amazing the things that'll follow you. I mean, I've had the same thing happen in other instances where it's like, somebody out of the blue is like, I remember I met you at a gig 11 years ago, and you played a song. And it's like, what? I just love the song.
Played a song.
every time I hear that song, I think of you playing it. And well, good for you. That's good to hear. That's the kind of stuff that makes the world go around for us on the inside. It's like, oh wow, somebody appreciated what I did.
So, where is the best spot to send people if they want to buy your guys' stuff?
iTunes is probably your best bet. You could always go on Spotify, but if you want to buy, obviously iTunes. If you want to listen, Spotify or Pandora. YouTube is also a great avenue because we made some, for being nobodies with really very little knowledge of how to make music videos. We've made some really great videos. I mean, we have. Like I said, we have 1.3 million views. I mean, they're charming. They weren't made in Hollywood. They've got their own little hometown spun charm, but they're really quite good. And this last one we did, I think, is just going to blow people away.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Wait till you see me in my outfit. I have the most killer cowboy outfit you've ever seen in your life.
Well, I'll tell you, the pink hat reminds me of a buddy of mine who, and the glasses too, remind me of a gentleman who you may have to look up the reference, but he is in the adult film world. His name is James Bartholet. And you
okay.
Classic James
That's
Bartholet
funny.
vibes, my friend.
Just so you know, my name is Dave Hardman, and there is a porn star by the name of Dave Hardman.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It ain't me. It ain't me.
So, go ahead, my friend. Didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to say, I love pink. Pink's my favorite color, but I never wear pink. And I bought this hat thinking, I own many hats, but I bought that hat going, yeah, I'll wear a pink hat. And it sat in my studio here for weeks because I couldn't. It's like, I don't wear pink. Then I finally put it on. I've never had so many compliments about my pink hat. I usually get compliments, here and there. Hey, I like your hat, but now I'm getting it from everybody, so it's nice. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So on YouTube, is it just the hourglass effect? Is that what we look up?
The closer. Sorry, I was going to say that when I was talking about that. You need to look for the hourglass effect band, because there are a lot of people out there who have done something with the hourglass effect. But it's the hourglass effect band. Hashtag the hourglass effect band, all in one big word. Same on Instagram, same on, pretty much anything.
Yeah. We have got Dave Hardman with us today. He joins us live here in a broadcast. So, setting up a studio in a strip mall, tell me a little bit about all this. I think this is fantastic.
I used to teach at home. I did everything at home, and after a while, home just became like this coffin. I ate there, I slept there, I showered there, I taught there, I slept there, the whole 9 yards. So a friend of mine encouraged me to start looking for space elsewhere, and I found most of the places I'd go to is they were like, so what is it you do? Well, I teach music, and the first thing I would say is, oh, noise. You can't be here because it's too much noise. I'm like, it's music, it's not noise. Anyways, finally I found one place that was actually off the beaten path, and they weren't having great success with filling up the place. So I got this little tiny, like 300 square foot studio, and I started working there, and about 4 or 5 years later I ended up in this 900 square foot purple carpet, purple walls, industrial ceiling. I have guitars hanging from the ceiling. I have albums hanging from the ceiling. I have a cymbal hanging from the ceiling. I have all kinds of my albums that have influenced me hanging from the ceiling. And this place has become my. I never ever thought I'd have a place like this. This has become my Abbey Road. So
that's awesome.
That's and it overlooks a Walmart parking lot.
Hey, I love it. I think that's great.
I mean, I'll sometimes tell people, you see those 4 windows up there above the Colombian restaurant? That's my studio. Like, there was an album made up there, and they're looking at me like, you can only buy milk around here, not make a record. So.
That is great.
I like that it's off the beaten path, that it's not your usual, it's just, everybody else around me here sells insurance, or, it's more normal stuff, so to speak. But
more normal stuff, so to speak.
They got walk into my room. I've got a traffic light in the corner. I used to have it hanging from the ceiling, but it hung too low. Everybody's hitting their head. I've got a drum set. I've got awesome. 2 dozen guitars. I got a reel-to-reel tape recorder, old school reel-to-reel tape recorder, and on the table over there. But it's not your typical recording studio. Like, you walk in, it's like, well, there's the board, and it's secluded. I do everything in the one room, and my vocal booth is basically when you're moving blankets. You have moving blankets to protect everything. It's just clipped to the ceiling, and I created a little room out of the moving blankets. I'm old school. Like, I don't need to go out and buy anything new. Just if I got something, I can use it. It'll do what I need it to do. I just need to connect one thing to the next, and there you are.
You're off and running. So we've got Dave Hardman with us today. He joins us live here at program. So, what is next for you as an artist, or what have you?
Me personally, as an artist, because I've actually done a fair amount myself. In fact, at one point, I had a song on the radio in the Toronto Buffalo area. They played it for 3 months on medium rotation. I was played between Petty and Santana and Elton John and Pete Seeger, Bob Seger. Not Pete Seeger, Bob Seger. And that was a thrill. Like, it was just, you'd be standing in the bank, and it would come over the speakers, and like, I yelled to everybody in the bank. Well, I tried not to yell, but I was too excited. I was like, "Hey, everybody, that's my song!" And they're looking, at me like, "Okay, when's he gonna pull the gun out and rob the bank?" I'd be at the dentist's office, and it would come over. Anyways, I've done a fair amount on my own. That album that I recorded for that was I lived in Toronto, the Toronto area, for a while. Yeah. So it was on a Ontario station, but it reached the whole of Toronto and outer parts, along with Buffalo and outer parts. So it was quite a lot of people that got to hear that song. I want to get back to my own songwriting at some point, and I have quite a few songs that I just need to record. I just haven't had time. I've been helping other people, but I want to get back to doing my own stuff. That's always the most soul satisfying, knowing I love helping people with their songs, but when it's your song, it's
a little bit different.
A feeling like you can't describe.
That's right. Well, you are fantastic. Thanks for making some time for us today.
Thank you.
And
really
I definitely look forward to chatting with you soon. Good luck with everything. And before we let you go, how do people get your music and give you some of their hard-earned money?
Well, best would be to go to iTunes, and as I said before, you need to be looking for the Hourglass Effect Band. Just tack BAND on the end, and you'll find us. I mean, maybe just do a Google search, and Spotify, Pandora. If you just want to listen, Spotify. If you want to buy, that would be great. We'd love that. Thank you. It'll help us with the next project. But iTunes, the Hourglass Effect Band.
Fantastic. Well, Dave, have yourself a wonderful day, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
You too. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. There he goes. That is Dave Hardman, and he joins us today here on our big program.